Are you looking for a new satellite communicator this year, but you're not sure which one to get? Well, let me run down through these satellite communicators and tell you what they are, and I'll help group them into different adventures so you can narrow down your search. But wait till the end, I'm going to tell you about some other incredible safety devices that you're going to want to know about. All right, so first up, I'm going to start with my favorite, which is the Garmin GPSMAP 67i. This is my favorite satellite communicator primarily because it's an all-in-one device. It's a great technology. It's really well built. It's very rugged. It's got the keys right here. It's got the built-in screen. You can get topo maps. You can get weather forecasts. You can two-way message. This thing is so powerful. My only caution to people for this GPSMAP 67i is there's so much technology built into it. It may be too much for some people. But this is the device I use on multi-day outdoor adventures because I don't have to rely on my cell phone for its battery because the cell phone is going to die a lot faster than these satellite communicators. I can still sync it with my smartphone, but I can use it as a standalone device and don't have to pull out my cell phone. My next favorite is the Garmin inReach Mini 2. This is a really small device, but when it's synced with your smartphone, it'll do almost everything that the Garmin GPSMAP 67i will do. What's great about this is you can use it as a standalone device also. You just can't see topo maps on it, but you can see your tracks, you can see the trails, you can see waypoints, you can two-way message on it, you can get weather forecasts. This little thing is really powerful, but I love it for day hikes. It's so small when it's sitting on my pack, I really don't even recognize it's there. For most people who are unsure about what device to get, but they want a great one, I really recommend the Garmin inReach Mini 2. All right, are you an off-roader or do you like to ride ATVs and maybe even mountain bikes? This Garmin Montana 700i or 750i may be great for you. Now, I have the 750i because it takes photos and it will geolocate them, so it'll be a waypoint, and I can, say I find a great fishing hole someplace or multiple fishing holes, then I can navigate from one to the next and so on, and I could just take me right on down to all my favorite fishing holes. This device is really big, and I'll just warn you right away that it has a bad battery life, so you always need to have it connected to a charging source. But this has a touch screen. It's a large screen. It's great. When I put it in my truck, I can see it more easily. It'll give you turn-by-turn instructions in the mountain or in the city. I would really highly recommend this Montana 750i as probably the #1 choice if you're a major off-roader. All right, do you love your dogs and you want to keep track of them in the mountains? Well, this Garmin Alpha 300i is probably what you want. This has almost everything that the Garmin inReach Mini 2 and the GPSMAP 67i has. It has the screen where you can see your topo maps on it. You can navigate. You can see your dogs, up to 20 dogs. Now, each dog has to have its own color, but you can give it a different color, a different name. So whether you're a sportsman or a hunter and you have dogs and you want to track, or maybe you're just a hiker and you want to let your dog off way up in the mountains when nobody's around, and all of a sudden they see a marmot or some squirrel or something, they start taking off. Well, if you can't get them back, you can see where they're at and track them. This really is a great device for people who love their dogs and want to be way up in the mountains but yet be able to find them. All right, up next is a Spot X with Bluetooth. What's great about this device is it has a built-in keypad. Now, you can't see topo maps on it, but you can navigate to waypoints, but it's so much easier to type out a message on this rather than moving a button around the screen. You can type this out. This really is like the old Blackberries, if anybody remembers those. It's just a keypad where it's much easier to type out a unique message. The only negative about the Spot X is that it does not have global pole-to-pole coverage. So if you're a world traveler, you may want to check out where the spots in the world are where they don't have coverage. But it is a great device, especially for typing unique messages out. All right, this is the Somewear Global Hotspot. Now, this device, as with several of them, they have to be connected with Bluetooth to really have much of any kind of function. Now, you can open this blue cap up on top and hit this button and you'll get search and rescue teams coming to your area. But you can't send a location check-in and you cannot two-way message. This is one of the negatives about these devices. That is, if you're not connected to your smartphone, you can't two-way message. But when you're connected, you can two-way message, you can see topo maps, you can navigate. It's a very powerful device as long as you stay connected to your smartphone. The other negative I have right now with the Somewear Global Hotspot, I have not seen a way to purchase this over the last year. They're on back order, they're not making them, I'm not sure what it is. It's a really good device, but you may not be able to buy it right now. The ZOLEO is a little step up from the Somewear Global Hotspot for a couple reasons, but the first one is you can open up this cover and hit this SOS button. You can also hit this check-in button, so even though if you're not synced with your smartphone, you can still send a check-in message to people that you have set up beforehand before you've gone out on your adventure. The great thing about the ZOLEO is it'll go from Wi-Fi to cell service to satellite service without you doing anything. This is one of the true communicators in my opinion. If I were looking for something that was just a great communicator, I would take a hard look at the ZOLEO. But remember, if you lose that Bluetooth connection with your smartphone, you're not going to be able to communicate. All right, now for the ACR Bivy Stick. Now this is the blue one. This is when Bivy Stick owned them before. ACR bought them out, same device, they've changed the colors. The nice thing about the ACR Bivy Stick is, again, you can hit this SOS button on the bottom and you can get search and rescue teams to your area. You can also hit this check-in button. But again, like the ZOLEO, if you lose Bluetooth to your smartphone, you can't do anything else. You cannot two-way message, you cannot navigate, you cannot see topo maps. But as long as you have the Bluetooth connection to your smartphone, it's a very powerful device. One of the things I love about this the most is it has one of the best map features that I've seen, maybe even better than Garmin. And the reason I say I like it so much and might be better than Garmin is because it has a filter feature. So you could be looking at all these different icons all over the place, and there's campgrounds and there's hiking trails, there's mountain bike trails and rivers to float and off-roading trails and ATV trails. They're all in here, but you could filter and say, hey, I only want to look at campgrounds. Or you can filter and say, I only want to look at hiking trails. I love that feature about this. But again, if you lose sync, you cannot see that. But when it is synced, you can get weather forecasts, you see your topo maps, you can navigate, and you can two-way message. A great small device that I really do like a lot. All right, next is the Garmin inReach Messenger. This device really is the size of a wallet, and it can do more than the ACR Bivy Stick and the ZOLEO as a standalone device. What I love about this is it is truly a great communicator, and I would say it's better than the ZOLEO for the primary reason that you can actually type out a message on this device if you don't have a Bluetooth sync to your phone. The screen is really small, but you can track back on it, you can type out a message, you can see a weather forecast. This truly is a great device, but specifically if you want to communicate. I mean, maybe you already have the ability to navigate or you don't care. This is great. This also has the ability to go from Wi-Fi to cell service to satellite service. Take a look at this, especially say maybe you're a camper and you lose the ability to message family and friends, but you know where you're at and you were able to navigate there. Check this out for the quality communicator that it is. All right, the latest on the market this year has been the Motorola Defy satellite link. This is really small. It's actually probably a little bit smaller than the Garmin Messenger. It's thinner for sure. Now this device has the ability to also get the SOS and get search and rescue teams out to you, but it can also check in. But for most of the functions, you need to be synced with your smartphone. It's one of the least expensive devices, and if you're looking to get a satellite communicator and you're on a budget, you really need to take a look at the Motorola Defy. I've tested this device several times, and honestly, it's not my favorite for navigating and when I've been out testing it in the mountains. It's better than nothing, and I'm telling you, it is a really good satellite communicator, but I just prefer some other devices more. This channel is all about me testing things and giving you my opinion, and other people will absolutely disagree with me on this. What I really like about this device, though, is it's less expensive. If you need a satellite communicator and you want something on your pack, it won't hurt your budget as much. So I would take a hard look at the Motorola Defy satellite link when you're on a budget. This Spot Gen 4 is a really good satellite communicator, but it's only a one-way satellite communicator. Now you can preset some messages on this, and you can put one here that there's a check-in. You can preset your messages, and I've done that so that I can send messages to people like, hey, I'm in trouble. It's not an emergency, but I'm going to be late or something like that. And then another one's, hey, everything's okay. And so, but you can preset these at home when you're on your computer. I've tested this a lot, and it's really nice because somebody that's on their computer or has a smartphone can be able to see where you're at and track your location. But again, it is only a one-way satellite communicator. You cannot two-way message, and nobody can contact you. But this is also one of the budget-friendly devices. I bought mine for $100. They normally run about $150, but you can get them down to $100 if you watch throughout the year. Again, this is a really good device, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're on a budget. Now, as you can see, I'm out here in the snow. It's in the middle of winter here in Colorado. And if you get out here to much to Colorado or any place like it, there are a lot of avalanches. And last year, there were over 5,000 avalanches and 30 people died. So make sure you have an avalanche beacon if you go out into the mountains, especially if you're going into the back country. I list every one of them that's on the market, and then I'll group some of them for you too, especially if you're on a budget and you want to get into something a little more inexpensively, or maybe you're a professional or a guide and you want the higher end ones. Check that video out, and I'll see you back out here in Colorado in the next video.